Welcome, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about metamorphism of ultramorphic rocks. You might have studied about ultramorphic rocks in your igneous petrology topic. So let me tell you the definition of meta-ultramorphics. They are metamorphic products of ultramorphic igneous rocks. Therefore, the protolith of meta-ultramorphic rock is ultramorphic igneous rocks. What are ultramorphic rocks? They are generated normally in the upper mantle and composed of more than 90% of mafic minerals. What are those mafic minerals? One is olivine, second one is orthopyroxene, third one is clinopyroxene. These are the major mafic minerals present in the ultramorphic rocks. The ultramorphic rocks are normal ultramorphic rocks are dunite, pyroxenite, peridotite, which includes Hertzbergite and Leutzolite. The upper mantle is normally represented by these ultramorphic rocks or peridotites. You know, the peridotites will have different proportion of olivine, from phosphorite to phyllite, different proportion of orthopyroxene, enstatite to ferrocylite, and clinopyroxene, ranges from diopside to Heidelbergite. So there are normal mantle, enriched mantle, and depleted mantle. If the mantle is called enriched mantle, that is normally represented by Leutzolite, that means olivine plus orthopyroxene plus clinopyroxene. But whereas depleted mantle, or it is formed due to the extraction of basalt via melting, that leads to loss of clinopyroxene from the mantle. Therefore, you will get a residuum called Hertzbergite. The Hertzbergite normally rich in olivine and orthopyroxene. Next is, how do you represent these ultramorphic rocks chemographically? You can represent just like the calc-silicate rocks in the system called SiO2, MgO, CaO system. So you can have a minor constituents like alumina and chromium, which is represented as pyroxene and spiral. So where you can see these ultramorphic rocks, that also you have to write. In the field, you can expect ultramorphic rocks mostly in the basal section of the ophiolites. You know what is ophiolite? Ophiolite is the oceanic crust plus the upper part of the mantle, which is seen above the mean sea level or attached to the continental rocks. So they are exhumed pieces of upper mantle. So the majority of the ultramorphic rocks are exposed in orogenic belts. That is, normally you can see these ultramorphic rocks in Archean and Proterozoic mountain chains. And ultramorphic magmas, you know that they are rare in the Phanerozoic era. Ultramorphic rocks also you can see in the major fault zones. For example, Palghat-Kaveri suture zone, Moyar-Bhavani suture zone. In these areas, you can see the ultramorphic rocks or meta-ultramorphic rocks. So the meta-ultramorphic rocks can be seen in the major fault zones and the suture zones. Suture zones are nothing but they are the boundary between two plates or the boundary between two collisional orogens. Now let us examine what are the important meta-ultramorphic minerals. You can see I said this meta-ultramorphics are represented by a system called SiO2, CaO, MgO. Here MgO plus FeO will come. The major important minerals are forsterite, einsteinite, tremolite, serpentine, anthophyllite, and talc. But you can see here number of minerals, but these are the major minerals seen in the meta-ultramorphic rocks. The important rocks are you have to write about the important meta-ultramorphic rocks. One is called serpentinites. They are massive or schistose rock with abundant serpentine minerals. Second one is talc tremolite schist or talc schist. They are the schistose rock rich in talc and tremolite. Ophicalcite is a rock rich in serpentine plus carbonate calcite. Then comes the anthophyllite schist. Then comes peridotites, olivine bearing ultramorphics. So this is the system in which you can represent your ultramorphic rocks. You can see here there is a right hand side and left hand side. The left hand side you know, because I have already told you about the representation of metacarbonates. Normally it is represented on the left hand side of the figure. The right hand side of the figure is represented by the meta-ultramorphic rocks. Now we can see here SiO2, CaO, MgO system. Here you can have the brucite and clays. Here you have the phosphite, talc, tremolite dioxide. You are learned this much about the metamorphism of carbonate rocks in the previous lecture. Let us move on now. The prograde metamorphism of ultramorphic rocks are represented by 8 reactions that also represented in this phase diagram of quartz calcite magnesium system. The first reaction you can see here is very easy. You know, I said it is in this corner is represented by MgO or brucite. So above which you have a mineral called antagarite. So the antagarite plus brucite will react to form forsterite plus water. Here almost all reactions are dehydration reactions, whereas in the metacarbonates most of the reactions will liberate carbon dioxide or water or both carbon dioxide and water. Here if you look at that reactions, most of the fluid released during the prograde metamorphism ultramorphic rocks is water, H2O. So the first reaction is, here you can see the brucite plus antagarite gives forsterite. You can see here. So this is the first reaction you should write. It is the first reaction. Maybe in the green schist phase, this is what is happening. Brucite plus antagarite gives forsterite plus water. The second reaction, you can see that the diopside, here in the earlier metacarbonates, you have seen the reaction of diopside. So that diopside will react with antagarite, will give you forsterite plus tremolite plus water. This is the second reaction. What is that reaction? It is diopside plus antagarite gives tremolite plus forsterite. So now let us examine the third reaction. What is that? Here you can have forsterite. Then you know the talc. Talc is also there. So the talc and forsterite formed from antagarite. So the antagarite dissociate to form forsterite plus talc plus water. This is the third reaction. Now you can in sequence you can write number 1 reaction, number 2 reaction, number 3 reaction. Now number 4 reaction is that this talc and forsterite will react to form einsteinite. You understand? The talc plus forsterite gives you a reaction called einsteinite. The next fifth reaction is called the talc and einsteinite will react to form a new mineral called anthophyllite. So this is the fifth reaction. Einsteinite plus talc gives anthophyllite. The sixth reaction is forsterite plus tremolite gives diopside plus einsteinite plus water. This is, you know, that these reactions you have learned previous class that it is a crossover diline crossover reaction. So this is the sixth reaction. The seventh reaction you have to write is that this talc will dissociate to form anthophyllite and quartz. This is a high grade reaction. The talc will start dissociating to form anthophyllite and quartz plus water. Then another reaction is the anthophyllite will dissociate to form aenstatite plus quartz plus water. So this is the eighth reaction. So if you write these eight reaction, it will be enough to represent the prograde metamorphism of ultramafic rocks. Let me repeat. The number one reaction is the brucite plus antigoraite gives forsterite. Second one is called diopside plus antigoraite gives forsterite plus tremolite. Here tremolite is appearing, so it is representing a lower amphibolite facies. Second one is called antigorite, dissociate to form forsterite and talc. And fourth one is called the talc plus forsterite gives aenstatite. The fifth reaction is the talc and aenstatite producing anthophyllite. The sixth one is called forsterite plus tremolite gives diopside plus aenstatite. Then seventh, the talc dissociate to form anthophyllite and quartz. Finally, the anthophyllite dissociate to form aenstatite and quartz. So let us examine what are the metamorphic changes. Antigoraite is stable up to 400 degrees Celsius and is equivalent to greenschist facies. If it is there, antigorite is there, you can say it is a greenschist facies rock. Then tremolite appears at condition close to where the antigorite disappears and indicates an amphibolite facies. So the tremolite comes in the place of antigorite. That means the greenschist facies is disappearing and amphibolite facies is appearing. The talc is stable much higher temperature at around 700 degrees Celsius or above, and breakdowns there that we have seen in the previous reactions to in granulate facies conditions. Diopside is stable at both low temperature and high temperature, separated by an interval in which tremolite is stable instead. Okay, so the diopside is normally you can see in the meta-ultramafic rocks in the lower grade as well as in the higher grade. In between, a tremolite is formed. Anthophyllite is stable only at amphibolite facies conditions, a pressures of 12 kilobars. So that is an indicator. Anthophyllite is a pressure indicator of these meta-ultramafic rocks. Next, let me explain this with the help of a petrogenetic grid. Now, this is the petrogenetic grid. That means these mineral reactions are represented in a PT grid. This is the pressure, this is the temperature. That is called the petrogenetic grid. The metamorphic prograde or retrograde reactions can be represented in a pressure temperature space. That's called the petrogenetic grid. So I have said about many reactions. Now we can see here the lower around 300 and 350 degrees Celsius. There is a reaction called brucite plus antigorite gives forsterite plus water. So now the antigorite is stable up to here. You can see the low pressure, the antigorite is stable up to around 400 or 430 to 50 degrees Celsius. Then look at the stability field of talc. This is much higher, pressure is much higher and it is going up to 700 and 750. Then the lower grade, as I said, the diopside is present. Diopside is also present in the higher grade, also above 900 degrees Celsius. In between, you will get a mineral called, there is no continuity of this diopside. You will get a mineral called tremolite. All the reactions you get, the diopside plus antigorite gives forsterite plus this we have discussed previously. Diopside plus antigorite gives forsterite plus tremolite. Here the antigorite dissociated into forsterite and talc. Here you can see the talc plus forsterite gives aenstatite plus water. Talc plus aenstatite gives anthophyllite. Talc plus talc dissociate to form anthophyllite plus quartz. So here the granulate facies starts. Anthophyllite dissociate to form aenstatite and quartz. This is also higher grade, and the most towards the very high temperature you will have with the tremolite will dissociate to form diopside, aenstatite and quartz. So the tremolite breakdowns at high temperature can be represented at say ultra high temperature. That is, tremolite is dissociated to form diopside plus aenstatite plus quartz plus water. So this is the petrogenetic grid representation. You understand what I said? Petrogenetic grid is the representation of the mineral reactions from one grade to another in a pressure temperature space. The first reaction is this: in the low grade around 350 degrees Celsius, the reaction start, that is a brucite plus antagorite gives phosphate plus water. And next is diopside plus antagorite gives phosphate plus stimulate plus water. Similarly, as the grade increases, different reactions take place. So here you have to write that antagorite is stable at relatively low temperature and pressure, that is at green schist species, whereas talc is reasonably a good stability field at medium pressure up to a temperature of 750 degrees Celsius. Diopside is normally represented at a high pressure, and it is represented both in the low grade as well as in the high grade. In between, you get the tremolite as a stable phase. So this is all about the meta-ultramafic rocks. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask me through email or SMS. Thank you so much.